A neon world run by mega corporations implanting chips in people's brains? Sounds like, well, quite a few different sci-fi movies, even down to the outfits. But does this game do anything to stand out? Syndicate was released in 2012 on PC, PS3 and Xbox 360. A first-person shooter developed by Starbreeze Studios and published by EA. It's a reboot of a real-time strategy game series that was released in 1993 and had a sequel in 1996. It earned above-average reviews on Metacritic, with a 75 on PS3, 74 on 360, and a 69 on PC. Positive reviews said smart players will rise to the challenge and feel appropriately rewarded for their prowess, and that it was just a fantastic game with lovely cyberpunk graphics. Negative reviews called it a generic shooter you've forgotten you've played, and it was boring and just so draining. Ugh. I'll just let this guy tell you the story.
In the year 2017, the world's largest corporate merger leads to the creation of Eurocorp. The company is the first to spearhead the development of a biodigital implant, the DART chip. Fueled by adrenaline, its users experience unsurpassed connectivity with the dataverse, rendering all digital devices obsolete. Nations lose their relevance in a world dominated by these massive corporations. The world population swells to 15 billion. 57% are chipped and linked to their preferred corporation. The rest are digitally locked out of sight and out of mind. Industrial espionage reaches unparalleled heights. Covert agents are mobilized to protect and serve their interests. You are one of the chosen few, an agent.
We play as Miles Kilo, a bioengineered agent who's been augmented to be an enforcer for Eurocorp due to intercorporation warfare. Lily Droll is a Eurocorp scientist who created a new prototype of the DART chip, and the CEO, Jack Denham, wants her counterpart in Aspari, a rival syndicate, to be eliminated. Kilo is sent on this mission with Merit, only to find out Lily has been sharing information with Aspari scientists. Are you keeping up? Lily escapes Eurocorp and tries to lay low, only to be captured by another syndicate, Cayman Global. I know, it's getting a little confusing. Kilo must now fight his way to Lily and try to rescue her, only for them to find out Cayman Global are preparing to go to war with Eurocorp. Did you get all that? I played the entire game, and I still had to reread the plot a few times. What's cool is that Rosario Dawson voices Lily.
Trace memory convulsions from debugging. It'll damp out. But no more upgrades for him.
What did you do to me?
How are you feeling?
Like somebody stabbed me in the damn chest.
Yeah, he's good to go, Jack. As good as he's gonna be.
Thank you, Lily.
And Brian Cox is John Denham.
You know I've had my doubts, but I've got to tell you, DART 6 looks promising. It's going to revolutionize the chip industry. And this guy, he just keeps on surprising us. Right, Kilo?
So there was some impressive talent involved in a lesser-known game.
We need to talk mass implementation.
Unlike the first two games in the series, this is a first-person shooter. We have access to a digital overlay that gives us the ability to hack or breach different objects in the world. Our arsenal is quite vast, and we can pick up enemy weapons or find some heavy-duty ones in certain areas on the level. We can also use our dart overlay to manipulate enemies' minds, causing them to do certain forced actions, such as have their weapon malfunction and stun them, persuade them to fire on other enemies for us, or just end things there and then. Yes, I choose my words very carefully. When we learn these breaches, we're given a little tutorial in a virtual world on how to use them. This is always helpful, but if you don't get a good score within the program, you have to keep at it, turning the tutorial into a minigame of sorts. Thankfully, they don't keep you there too long, and you can just scrape by in order to carry on playing.
Challenge successful. Performance was not optimal. Exit the simulation or breach the marker to reset challenge.
The levels are all self-contained, so once you finish one, you get a scoreboard with stats. You still have the ability to explore, but overall it's pretty linear. There are some environmental puzzles to solve, and quite a bit of jumping and climbing around, but not enough that it turns the game into a platformer. We also have boss fights on certain levels, and they can be quite challenging, causing you to come up with different strategies or approaches to a fight. One boss took me a good dozen tries to get right, forcing me to use every ability in my arsenal, and switch out weapons for ones found in the level rather than what I had on hand.
You're never going home. You bitch! The West Coast is ours!
The first thing that came to my mind when I started playing Syndicate was that it felt like Deus Ex and Cyberpunk had combined into one game world, with aspects of Blade Runner and Minority Report, both visually and in gameplay. I really like the art style, and the feel of corporations draining the life out of the city, neon lights reflecting off soulless metal structures, with a sense of emptiness and sterility. It was hard to get the brightness right in some places though, as the shadowy parts were super dark, and then the neon lights just blinded you. We have a skill tree of sorts to upgrade, and the only way we can gain points is by taking out rivals and extracting their chips. We can only do this to certain enemies, so the points we collect are very limited, making us choose our skills carefully. We can also get bonuses to health by connecting skills in a network, or joining each one in a continuous line. There was a lot of variety in the environments, and we weren't always running through streets or office buildings, though it does feel that way in the beginning. Further into the game, we ride trains while shooting down helicopters, jump across platforms in a sky station, and get to explore the inside of Eurocorp's science labs. So there's plenty to look at. I did get confused with some of the environmental puzzles, mainly because the lighting prevented me from seeing a switch, or it wasn't obvious where to go next. Those moments were rare though, and most of the time you just head towards a door that was once locked but magically opens up after a fight. I like that we had to use certain weapons or dart abilities to solve puzzles too. Like the game really wanted you to try out an ability, even if it wasn't part of your playstyle. The story points are semi-interactive, so we can look around at characters, or we have to follow them while they tell us important things. I like this choice over cutscenes as it kept the immersion, and it felt like we were always involved with whatever Kilo was experiencing. Syndicate is kind of a generic shooter, I agree, but also has some mechanics that are unique to it. The story is pretty predictable, and you can kind of guess who the bad guys are, and how the whole thing ends, but that doesn't take away from the overall cinematic feel you get from the game. The choice of weapons is always welcome, as I am a girl who appreciates variety, and I did find myself chopping and changing whenever I came across something I hadn't used much. Like I said, the environmental puzzles weren't too heavy or game-stopping, but there were one or two times where I wondered if I was just being dense or if it was bad design. Overall, Syndicate is a great little FPS game, and if you have a chance to play it, you definitely should. I found it's available on Origin if that helps any PC players, but otherwise it's another game that's just stuck on 7th gen consoles. If you can play it, prepare for some neon sci-fi fun, some big firefights, and make sure you use your breach abilities wisely.
Unpredicted behavior from breach. Uploading log file to Eurocorp R&D.
This was fun. Let's do it again sometime. And if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like down below.